I planned my own baby shower only to be erased by my family and replaced with their reunion after years of sacrifice and silence. So I sent a gift that exposed the truth, and when the pink fireworks lit the sky, the real storm had only begun. "You really think you're going?" my dad asked, not even looking up from his coffee. I froze in the hallway, one hand on my belly, the other holding the invitation I'd printed last night. "It's my baby shower," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "I planned it. I booked the restaurant. I paid for the cake." He shrugged. "Yeah, well, things changed. We had a family meeting. It's now a family reunion." I blinked. "A what? A reunion?" he repeated. "A family reunion." We all agreed. It makes more sense this way. I looked toward my mom, who was silently arranging napkins like this conversation wasn't happening 2 feet away from her. She didn't meet my eyes. "Who's we?" I asked. He sipped his coffee. "Me, your mom, Jake, Aunt Carol, everyone, really. And I wasn't invited to this meeting?" I asked. He smirked. "You were busy being moody. Pregnancy hormones, right?" That's when I realized they weren't just changing the event. They were kicking me out of my own celebration. "So, you're telling me I'm not invited?" I asked. He set the mug down. "Exactly, you're not. It's for the family. We didn't want drama." My jaw tightened. "I'm the drama?" "Sweetheart," my mom finally chimed in, her voice soft like poison in tea. "Maybe it's better this way. Less pressure for you." Less pressure. I had spent weeks planning this. I ordered a pink cake with little gold booties on top. I'd booked a restaurant they liked, not me. I sent them all invitations because, against my better judgment, I wanted this to be a family thing. Now, I wasn't even invited. "Fine," I said, my voice cold and quiet. "I'll send the gift ahead. You know, the one with my daughter's name on it." "You do that," Dad muttered, already scrolling on his phone. "Just don't show up. It's not about you anymore." I nodded slowly. "Noted." Then I turned, walked out the door, and promised myself one thing. They could have their little reunion, but I wasn't going to disappear the way they expected. Not this time. The first time my family made me feel like I was disposable. I was 16. It was Christmas morning. Jake got a new iPhone, and I got a scarf my mom found in the clearance bin. I remember holding it, still in the store's plastic bag, thinking they must have forgotten to wrap mine. That's how invisible I was. But I told myself it didn't matter. I wasn't a kid anymore. Turns out I was wrong. It always mattered. All my life, I had been the one who didn't complain, who picked up after everyone, who offered to help, who gave without asking for anything in return, especially when Jake messed up. Like the time he got his girlfriend pregnant at 19 and vanished for 2 weeks. Guess who paid for her prenatal checkups? Me. Or when he dropped out of college halfway through the semester after my parents had already paid tuition, and they blamed the school for not supporting him emotionally. Again, it was me they called, crying. "Your brother is struggling, honey. Can you lend us some money?" Just until we figure things out. That just until became 3 years. I paid their mortgage one winter when Dad forgot to budget for heating. I bought groceries more times than I could count. When Jake lost his job at the warehouse because he didn't like how the manager talked to him, guess who covered his phone bill so he could keep looking for work? Exactly. And I did it every single time. Not because I had extra money, but because I thought that if I kept showing up, eventually they'd see me. Appreciate me. Spoiler, they didn't. When I announced I was pregnant, my mom didn't even say congratulations. She stared at the ultrasound photo and said, "I guess this means we won't be seeing you much at family dinners." "And Dad?" he muttered. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Jake, meanwhile, texted me a gif of a crying baby and added, "Better you than me." But when his girlfriend got pregnant with their 3rd kid, everyone threw them a surprise baby shower with balloons, gifts, and a backyard buffet. When I asked about mine, Mom said, "Oh, sweetie, there's just too much going on this month." So I planned it myself. I saved up, booked the restaurant, ordered a cake, sent invitations, bought little pink candles and napkins, and the exact blush-colored centerpieces my mom once used for a cousin's wedding. And still, I wasn't allowed to show up. They turned it into a family reunion because, according to them, I had made it all about me, as if a baby shower wasn't supposed to be. But the real bombshell came 3 days after they told me I was uninvited. Jake called me, his voice casual, like nothing had happened. "Hey, do you think you could still bring the baby gifts you promised? Kelly really wanted that diaper bag from your list." I laughed out loud. "You want me to send a gift for a shower I was banned from?" "It's not your shower anymore," he said. "It's for the whole family, now. Everyone's bringing something." I almost dropped the phone. "I'm not part of everyone anymore, remember?" There was a pause, then he said, "Look, it's not personal. You've just been kind of distant lately. You don't come around. You act like you're better than us." I bit back the scream building in my chest. "I act like I'm better?" I said slowly. "I've given this family everything: money, time, patience. And all I wanted was one day to celebrate my daughter, and you couldn't even give me that." Jake sighed, like I was exhausting him. "You always make everything about you. That's why nobody wants you around anymore." Click! I sat on the couch, shaking, not from sadness, but from rage. For the next 24 hours, I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just made a list, a literal list of everything I'd ever given this family: money I'd loaned, events I'd covered, gifts, rent, bills, babysitting. Over $11,000 in the last 5 years, and not once had they said thank you. Not once had they offered to help me in return. Not when I broke my ankle and needed a ride to physio. Not when I had to move out of my apartment overnight because of a gas leak. Not when my car broke down on the way to work and I missed 2 weeks of pay. But the worst part? I was still expected to send gifts, to shut up, to be the bigger person. Because if I ever stood up for myself, I was starting drama. I was supposed to smile while they disrespected me, pretend I wasn't in pain, be a team player while sitting on the bench. That's when I knew something had to change, and it was going to start at that so-called family reunion. I boxed up the gift I'd bought for the original baby shower, a handmade memory book with a pink satin ribbon, and included a letter. Then, I arranged for it to be delivered straight to the restaurant, right on time for the celebration. I didn't sign the letter, but I made sure they'd know it was from me. And that was only part one of my plan, because I knew something they didn't. The venue, the one I booked, had a surprise built in: pink fireworks. They were meant to go off at the end of my shower, my special reveal moment. I never canceled them. So, when that sky lit up in rose-colored sparks, they were going to remember exactly whose name was on that reservation. The evening looked perfect from the outside: round tables draped in blush linens, glittery heart confetti scattered across every centerpiece, guests laughing, clinking glasses, people hugging, posing for selfies under a banner that read, "Welcome, baby Isla." They didn't know the mother of the baby wasn't there. They didn't know she'd been uninvited. I was home 7 months pregnant, in an oversized hoodie, sitting on the couch with swollen feet and a fire in my chest, watching my phone, waiting for the moment. It came during the toast. Jake stood up, all fake charm and good boy energy, holding a champagne flute. "I just want to thank everyone for coming to this special family reunion. It means a lot to see us all together again, especially during such an exciting time for our family." There were murmurs of agreement, clinks of glasses. Then, right as the dessert was being served, a waitress approached the main table, holding a soft pink gift box. "This just arrived," she said politely. "It has your family name on it." My mom stiffened. She reached for the box hesitantly and opened the lid. Inside was a delicate handmade baby memory book tied with a pink satin ribbon, a folded letter, and a small note card with a shiny QR code. "Is this from her?" Aunt Louisa asked, leaning in. My mom said nothing, just stared at the contents, her hand trembling slightly. Jake cleared his throat. I think she just wanted to send something since she wasn't feeling well enough to come today." The hostess, unaware of the tension, stepped forward with a mic and smiled. "What a lovely surprise. It seems we have a special message. Let's see it together." She nodded to the tech team. The lights dimmed slightly, a soft chime sounded, and then the projector screen behind Jake lit up. The crowd fell silent. There I was in the video, sitting in a sunlit room, calm, direct, alone. "Hi everyone," I began. "I just wanted to thank you for attending the baby shower that I wasn't allowed to attend." Murmurs, a ripple of confusion, faces turning. "If you're confused," I continued, "ask my father. He voted me out. Ask my brother Jake, who told me I'm not family anymore." People started whispering. One woman actually gasped. "You're sitting in the venue I booked, eating the cake I ordered, watching the fireworks I paid for." Aunt Louisa turned her head toward my mom. My mom stared at the floor. "So, enjoy it," I said, my voice still calm. "Because this is the last time I pay for my own exclusion." Then the screen shifted to an image of Isla's ultrasound. A note appeared beneath it. "Isla Rose, due May 28th. Her mom fought for her before she was even born." The last line of the video, "Next time, I'll be somewhere I'm loved." And then it ended. Dead silence. A moment later, white letters appeared on the screen. "Turn around." Guests shifted in their seats. Then, outside the restaurant windows, the sky suddenly burst into light. Pink fireworks, one by one, soft rose and blush explosions filled the night. A final heart-shaped flare sparkled above the trees, then faded. No one said a word. They understood. She had planned this. All of it. Jake slammed his glass on the table. Are you serious right now? She did this. My dad stood slowly, face pale. Who gave permission for that video to be played? The hostess blinked. There was a QR code on the gift box. We thought it was part of the toast. Guests shifted uncomfortably. Someone muttered, "Wait, so she paid for this whole thing?" My mother stood up shakily, eyes darting around. It was just a misunderstanding. But before she could continue, a sharp voice cut through the room. "I believe we have a bigger problem," said the restaurant owner, walking forward in a sleek gray suit. He held a tablet. Calm. Precise. This event was partially prepaid by the woman whose video you just watched. The remaining balance was to be settled today. Jake scoffed. "Well, she's not here. Guess it's on the house now." The owner raised an eyebrow. "No, it's on the people who excluded her from her own event. A few guests tried to leave. The hostess stepped in." "Sir, ma'am, please wait," the owner continued, out of principle and frankly disgusted. "I will be refunding every dollar she paid. And I'm holding you." He looked directly at my father and brother, responsible for the full bill. He handed over a folded invoice. $6,472, no discount, no apologies. Jake's jaw dropped. "We don't have that kind of money." My mother panicked. We thought she was paying. "She organized it." The owner's voice sharpened. "You used her, then cut her out. I've seen it before. Entitled families who think kindness is currency they can steal. This time, you're paying the price." Then he added, "This video was also recorded on our event camera. Just so we're clear, if payment isn't made, you'll be hearing from my attorney." One by one, the guests began to leave. Quiet, embarrassed, ashamed. Some whispered, "I had no idea she wasn't invited." Others walked straight past my family without saying goodbye. Jake stood frozen, the invoice in his hand. My father refused to look at anyone. My mother finally sat down, face white as paper. In the end, they were left with cake no one wanted, a bill they couldn't afford, and a truth they couldn't bury anymore. And me? I closed my laptop, let the silence settle, then smiled. My daughter kicked gently in my belly. I whispered, "That was for us. I didn't expect peace, not right away. But I didn't expect this." The sun hadn't even fully risen when the digital avalanche began. My phone buzzed relentlessly on the nightstand, vibrating against the wood like an angry wasp trapped in a jar. One notification after another flooded my screen. Missed calls stacking up like unpaid bills, voicemails piling on top of text messages, each one more frantic than the last. My family had officially entered crisis mode, and they wanted me to know exactly how much damage I'd caused to their carefully constructed facade. Jake's messages came first, rapid fire and dripping with accusation. "Are you actually proud of what you did last night? You completely humiliated us in front of the entire community." Everyone was staring. Everyone was whispering. "They made us pay the whole damn bill, every single penny. Dad hasn't spoken to anyone since we got home. He's sitting in his chair, staring at the wall like someone died. Mom hasn't stopped crying. She cried all night, tossing and turning, asking over and over how her own daughter could do this to her. Do you have any idea what you've done to this family?" Then came Mom's attempt at damage control, her voice artificially sweet through the digital chaos. "Sweetheart, please. I think we really need to talk about what happened. I know we made some mistakes along the way. We're not perfect people. But what you did last night, that was genuinely cruel. That was calculated and heartless. We're your family. We love you. How could you expose us like that in front of everyone we know?" But it was Dad's response that cut the deepest, not because of what he said, but because of how little he said. No lengthy guilt trip. No emotional manipulation. Just a single ice-cold text message containing a photograph of that damning restaurant invoice. $6,472 in stark black numbers, with a caption that felt like a slap across my swollen face. Hope it was worth it. I didn't reply because I knew they weren't sorry for what they did. They were sorry they got caught. But here's the twist. They didn't pay the restaurant bill that night. They couldn't. Jake's credit card bounced. My father tried calling his golf buddy who owned a chain of used car lots, but he didn't answer. My mom begged the manager to give them a few days. The owner wasn't having it. He gave them 24 hours or the footage, my speech, their reaction, the guest exodus would be posted to the restaurant's official social media as a statement of values. We do not support events that exclude pregnant women from their own celebrations. My brother panicked. My father threatened to sue. The owner smiled and said, "Please do. I'd love to show the judge the footage." So they turned to the only person they thought might help. Jake called his ex, Kelly, the mother of his 2 sons, the woman he left 6 months ago for needing too much, the same one I had secretly supported financially when he was jobless. And here's where the twist hit like a train. Kelly paid the bill in full, using money I had once given her for school supplies, rent, groceries, money she had secretly saved over the years in case Jake ever came crawling back. She walked into that restaurant the next day, paid, got a receipt, and then in front of the owner she said, "Please note, this payment clears the debt of the event. It does not clear their behavior. Also, if Jake tries to say I owe him anything ever again, I will personally leak the photos of him crying in the car that night." Then she left and sent me a message, "I paid the bill because they humiliated you, not because they deserve it. I've got your back now. Always did." That broke me in the best way. Meanwhile, back in disaster land, my parents were reeling. They had to cancel their spring vacation to rebuild trust with the community. Translation: people started distancing themselves. Aunt Louisa ghosted them. The neighbors were suddenly too busy. Even the priest from our old parish sent them a passive-aggressive email about acts of exclusion. Jake? He got fired. Why? One of his Keo workers was at the restaurant that night, saw the whole thing, recorded the video from the screen, and shared it in a company group chat with a caption, "This guy calls himself a family man." Jake was out by Monday. He blamed me, of course, called me a backstabber, a traitor, told everyone I'd set him up. But the truth? He set himself up the moment he voted me out of my own baby shower. And me? I slept, like really slept. No knots in my stomach, no 3 a.m. guilt spirals, no panic attacks from incoming calls. I went for walks, read books on gentle parenting, bought tiny socks for Isla, and cried when I held them. And for the first time, I didn't feel alone, because now, when people reached out, they weren't saying, "Come fix your family." They were saying, "Thank you for standing up." One woman, a cousin I barely knew, messaged me, "You gave me courage. I left my toxic family group chat today." Also, those fireworks? Iconic. A week later, I got a call from the restaurant owner. He wanted to invite me, just me, back to the venue. When I arrived, there was a small private table set up by the window. Tea, cake, a little vase with a note card that said, to the mother who reminded everyone what dignity looks like, "Lunch is on us. Congratulations." I smiled, took a sip of tea, and whispered to myself, "That's the only shower I needed." People always ask me why my family struggled so much. They had a house, jobs, decent cars. So why were they always borrowing, begging, behind on bills? Let me tell you, they weren't broke. They were just reckless, selfish, addicted, not to drugs, not to alcohol, but to living beyond their means and making someone else pay for the fallout. My father had 4 credit cards, all maxed out, not from survival but from status. A new grill every summer, watches he never wore, golf memberships that never got used. He bought a second flat screen for his garage just because. Jake had 2 streaming subscriptions for his dog because it keeps him calm when I'm out. I'm not kidding. My mom? QVC's favorite customer. You know those decorative ceramic angels people put on mantles? She had 48 of them. When I was a kid, I thought they were magical. Turns out they were just overpriced, non-refundable lies. And the real reason they always needed me, they never planned for anything. Car insurance lapsed. Can you cover it this month? Jake overdrafted again? Your brother is in a tough spot. Mom forgot the electricity bill for the 3rd time in a year? We just need you to help this once. It was always just once until it wasn't. After the fallout at the restaurant, I found something that made my stomach turn. I was at my OB appointment, showing the receptionist my new insurance card, when the system flagged a duplicate entry. Apparently, I had a secondary policy listed, one I'd never signed up for. Guess who opened it? My mom, 3 years ago. She used my social security number, forged my signature, and added herself as a dependent. She'd been getting dental work and prescription discounts under my name. I stood there in the clinic lobby, holding my stomach, shaking, and suddenly it all clicked. The endless need, the bottomless guilt trips, the way they reacted when I said no, as if I'd stolen from them. They weren't just entitled, they were used to taking. But here's the part that surprised me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I smiled. Because for the first time in my life, the truth was louder than their lies. I filed a fraud report, froze my credit, got everything scrubbed, and when the investigator asked if I wanted to press charges, I said, "No, I want them to know I could, and that next time I will." 2 weeks later, Jake showed up at my door again, this time with flowers, plastic ones. "I just thought maybe we could start over," he said, scratching his neck. "You know, like family again." I stared at him. "No." He blinked. "Just no." No explanation, no speech, just no. He left the flowers on the ground. I didn't pick them up. Later that night, I had dinner with Kelly. She told me something that almost made me spit out my tea. "I wasn't the first girl he got pregnant," she said. I stared. "What?" "High school. His ex, she didn't keep it. But he never told your parents. Said it would ruin his golden boy image." "How do you know?" I asked. He told me during one of his emotional breakdowns, said at least my sister's still more naive than me, she keeps covering for him. I didn't respond. I didn't need to because that version of me, the one who kept paying, was gone. My baby's room is quiet now, peaceful. Sunlight hits the crib in the morning, and for a second I almost forget what it felt like to be erased. Then I remember how they called me selfish, how they laughed at me behind my back, how they devoured my generosity like it was owed and turned on me the moment I asked for something back. And now, they're alone. I don't know what happened to the angels on the mantle. I don't care. But I know this. They weren't victims of hard times. They were builders of bad choices who buried their shame under fake birthdays and fancy centerpieces. And when the curtain fell and the spotlight hit the empty chair where I should have sat, they realized too late that the woman they erased was the only one keeping the lights on. And now the lights are off. And I sleep just fine.